everyone. My name is Nancy Cavanis, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar on building effective websites. Today's session will include branding, creating custom content, and making use of cover pages. We will get started here shortly, but first I'd like to go over a few quick housekeeping notes to keep everything running smoothly. You'll have the ability to minimize or maximize the control panel using the arrow button in the upper left corner. And as for questions, attendees will be muted throughout the session, but we do encourage you to submit questions using the question pane on the control panel, and we will get to them as time allows. If your question does not get answered during today's session, somebody will be following up with you. Within 24 to 48 hours, a recording of this webinar will be shared with all registrants, so there's really no need to take notes if you just prefer to watch and learn. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to Matt Sinclair, Account Manager with RunSignup, who will be presenting today's webinar. Take it away, Matt.
Hey everybody, welcome. Thanks for joining. We're going to cover how to build an effective website for your race. And I love teaching people how to build websites. It's one of my favorite features of RunSignup. So today we're going to go over the website basics, what you get for free out of the box, how to brand your event and add that branding to your website, adding all kinds of custom content to tell people about your event and why they should do it. We're going to go into cover pages to kind of bump your race website up to the next level. And we're going to cover some miscellaneous items that are tangentially related to your website as well. And then we'll go over some examples just to get your creative juices flowing so you can take those away and kind of incorporate them into your race. So we'll get started with the basics. And websites it's basically how people interact with your event. So you want to make sure that your website speaks to your race and what it's about. Their website is available 24/7, so you should think of it as the PR department for your race. So what makes a website effective? The content of your website should be aligned with your race and your race goals. So you want to clearly define what those goals are and make sure each of those are being addressed from a website perspective. So you want to brand your race. Everybody can think of their favorite brands, and when you think of that brand, you know, your imagination already has some sort of connectivity to it. So you want to kind of have that associated with your brand as well for your race. Whether people have done the race before and they just get that sense of, you know, reminiscing of the race, you can kind of convey that with the branding of your race. Use the website to drive registrations, you drive donations, drive, you know, sign-ups for volunteers, and to tell the story about the nonprofit or things of that nature. You want to provide all types of information so participants are able to self-serve, and that reduces support issues, so that way you can kind of focus on what needs to be done. You can use the website to encourage engagement, different things that you can do to actually have a training program on there. You can record activities from our virtual options. You can show highlights from, you know, team areas. We have expo events, you know, you have packet pickups, you have your results, photos, all kinds of tools that get built automatically into your website. And you want to promote the value of the services being offered. Like, what do people get when they come to your website? What is the swag that they get? What are prizes for, you know, the top finishers, and everything, and the key takeaways from your race. You also want to highlight your sponsors, because the sponsors, you know, you bring them into your event and you want to promote those so people, you know, get to experience the sponsors at your race as well. So as we get back into the swing of things with the new normal, registrations and participation is a bit down, so you can use your website to help build that back up. Since the website is a central place to build energy around your event, you can use the site to encourage engagement with participants both before and after your race. So what's included with your free website? As soon as you create a race on RunSignup, you finish step 1 of the race wizard, your website is built. It's very basic information with what you did, such as the address and key event information, pricing, and things like that. But you can add to it with all different types of either static or dynamic content. And it's your choice of what you add to your race to kind of elevate your event to the next level. So again, it's automatically created once you start up on RunSignup. And you can then add your branding. So during the Race Wizard, there's an option to add your logo, but we'll get into where to further customize that in a later slide. You can add as much content you want to your website. You can, separate things into different sections, do all kinds of stuff with submenus and menu options to make things easy to find. If you think of just normal navigation on any website that you're normally used to go to, generally there's a login in the top right. There's generally some FAQs or some help guides also on the top right of the website. So you want to kind of use those kind of key industry terms and way to format your website into the RunSignup page as well to make it familiar with your participants. So here's a kind of quick example that we're going to get to a little bit later, but it basically just shows you that you're going to have a general menu bar just like every other website. You can customize that information. You add branding. You can showcase the registration options, a basic mantra of your race for the race information, showing people what they get. And you can even cross promote, if you have other races or just other events or charity partners that you work with. So here's another example of the cover page with kind of different promotions. You can even put a video and different types of things involved with your website. And then the last kind of preview option here just shows a different way. And you see how all of these are like just kind of nicely branded together. This is the turkey trot. You have the nice oranges and kind of fall theme colors, and it just really makes the website pop. And to get to that stage, you want to do a little bit of planning before you start getting things going in the race website. But you already know what kind of goals you have for the race. And so here's kind of like a checklist of things that you might need in advance to help you add these to your website. Obviously, you've gone through branding. You probably have a race logo. You have the general color schemes of your event. You have images and content from previous races, or at least some sort of marketing images that you can have to promote on social media and things like that. You have clearly defined events. You probably have a clearly defined course, things that you're trying to do, whether you're trying to promote the race to grow in terms of participation through teams and social sharing, or you're trying to grow how much that charity partner that you're working with has raised through donations and fundraising. So you want to know what you're offering for your participants, whether this is in partnership with your timing company, what type of services can people expect when they come to your event so they know what they get. Those things include participant tracking. We have Race Joy, there's result notifications, there's all kinds of neat stuff there. So definitely talk with your timer about things like that you can incorporate to your website. Also, if there's photos, we have a photo tool you can upload those into, and that also gets shown directly on your website. You probably also have price increases planned. You have some sort of marketing that's planned, so you can incorporate those with promoting early bird discounts or registrations now live. And we also have dynamic indicators when the price is about to go up. And so you can kind of motivate people to go ahead and register before the price increases. And then always, get your sponsors to commit as early as possible, so that way they get the most exposure on the website. Gather all the logos, gather any links to specific landing pages that the sponsor wants to promote, or any type of sponsor offers for participants that come to your race. Maybe they get a special discount by patroning some of those sponsors. So the nuts and bolts of today's topic is inside of the race dashboard under the race tab in the race website section. So shown here, once you navigate in the dashboard under the race tab under race website, the race theme, cover pages, domains, custom sections, custom content display, and the menu order are where we're going to primarily focus on today's features and where you can go to kind of explore and add things to your race website. So let's get to the branding of your race website. So the first option is the race theme. When you get to the race theme page, there's a couple of different options in here. You can choose vertical or horizontal navigation. There's some design layouts. There's some quick, easy ways to link social media content. There's also taglines and custom countdowns, as well as some other options. You do need to note that some of these features will only display without a cover page. So that's one thing that you can look at first to see how you like that. If that's how you want to promote your website, that's great. But if you do use a cover page, all of these same features can be directly added right to the cover page. So that's one thing that you can incorporate either way, whether you choose a cover page or not. All of the features are still available. So here's a quick showcase of what the vertical versus horizontal navigation looks like. Obviously, horizontal is going to be at the top. With the cover page, the horizontal menu is always on the cover page, but then when you drill into the content, if you have chosen the vertical navigation, then navigation for the other sub pages that you would add, such as your participant tracking, frequently asked questions, that would show up on the left-hand side. Color scheme. This is, again, to promote the branding. You want to have colors that make sense with your race logo and with your event. So you want to choose one of the existing template palettes, or you can even create your own. You can even get the exact hexadecimal codes and add it into the race website theme. When you do this, you want to make sure that you also poke around your website to visit all the pages, register for the race with the different color schemes to make sure everything is legible, both on mobile and during normal desktop registration. We do see some themes that make it a little hard to see, and when you have participants of all different ages and eyesight levels, you want to make it very easy and clear to understand. So the race logo, that's the next stop. Obviously, most people probably already have a race logo. If not, I recommend getting a race logo designed. If you do get one designed, you want to develop what I call an evergreen logo. That means it never changes. So you're not putting the year of the race inside of the logo, or the 10th annual inside the logo. Now, there's obviously exceptions when you're promoting special anniversaries. Feel free to do that. But what you see a lot of websites do is they cache information to load quickly, such as Google and Facebook. Once they grab that logo, when you change it, it might have last year's logo until the page kind of gets refreshed. And you can avoid that with just having an evergreen logo. It's branded every single time. If you think of national brands, they're always it's just that logo, and it always works no matter what year or what season that you're in. So that's what I would recommend. Square logos generally work best with our templates. So try to get some sort of a square logo for the race theme. It doesn't matter 400 by 400, 200 by 200. As long as it's square, it'll look nice within the template. The banner image, again, this is the banner for the default race website. You want to start at about 1200 by 400 as the general dimensions. We do have a cropping tool to help you kind of zoom in and zoom out to get the exact picture that you want. But this race banner will not show if you're using the cover page. The cover page uses header images inside the cover page section. But if you are using the email marketing system, it's still nice to add a banner here, because the default header of our email marketing system and the automated tools is going to show this banner. So that's a neat way to have your cover page show one image, but then when you're sending out emails through the email system, it will use this banner. If you're already moved on to the next version of next gen email, then we make it really easy to customize default templates in there, and we generally share the race logo on those templates. A header banner, again, this can be used either in your cover page, or it can be used as part of the race website. Again, you want to start around 1200 by 400, but we do have a cropping tool to kind of zoom in, along with options if you really have to have that width fixed, or if you can kind of scale it. So if you think of mobile optimization, it doesn't matter if people are on iPads, tablets, desktop, or mobile, it's going to scale to fit the width of the device. But if you have created some sort of banner image that has like text, or it really has stuff on the sides of your image, there are options within both features to set the banner and make it fixed so it'll scale properly and not crop off the ends. So let's get to some custom content. Now, remember, the content is how you can reduce support questions, so you can have more time focused on race day logistics, marketing, all kinds of stuff that you're doing. And so you want to make sure your site is up to date with key information and any changes that may occur. So again, we're under the race website area under the custom sections. and you really want to, create a section for each different topic. You don't want to just have a general section and then like a laundry list or like a novel of things that are there, because it gives you the ability to kind of drag and drop and move things around to show off the key pieces and information on your website. So it's really flexible. You want to make sure you prioritize the content to include the most important information that's really easily accessible for your race. So in this example, when you get into a custom content section, you can have a header, a different section heading, so you can name it and title it. You can have it redirect to a different URL if you want to. You can add all sorts of content that you want there. You can embed an image, all kinds of, there's the WYSIWYG editor and the toolbar in there to put whatever content that you want. And then you can even upload an image that's part of the content. This example has a coupon in it, which is actually using one of our advanced custom content options, where you can make this section only display in the confirmation email. So normally when you think of creating custom sections, those are all publicly available on the race info page, or you're creating a menu item, but we do have an option where that custom section only appears on the confirmation email. So that's a great thing to reward somebody easily with a nice branded coupon for a sponsor to bring it with them for a discount or something like that. Example of what the content section looks like on the website is, here's an example of a referral program. So on the left-hand side, you see where I've embedded an image inside of the section and then written out the information to the right. This particular one also has the Facebook feed on the side. So you can do lots of cool stuff to showcase different content sections. And this is also promoted as its own menu item. So at the top of the menu is earn a free race. And that's, very eye-catching if somebody sees that. So they're going to click on that and see how they can earn a free registration and with your referral program. So you can always use your website to promote the different things that you're doing for your race. Here's an example of the interactive course map. This is offered through RaceJoy, so definitely check with your timer on how to get your course map added in RaceJoy and to provide that to your participants. But you can showcase that on there. Once the map is uploaded, we have a section for course maps, and then you can customize where that displays on your website. Organization of the menu is very key, because this is going to help you reduce clutter and you can reduce redundant content. So you want to strive for a few key menu tabs, and you can use some advanced tricks to move content around and showcase things. So in this particular example, you'll notice that the race info page under the menu order tab has 3 subsections, one of which is the course info, race day parking, and then the refund policy. And then you notice at the bottom of that screenshot, there's a refund policy. Now, out of the box, we automatically add that refund policy to your race website. That helps us fight chargebacks and honor people that have registered for your race. But we might want to organize things a little bit better under the race. And so what this section has done is hidden our default refund policy, and we've then created a custom section and just also named it refund policy, and then redirected that to the original page. So that's kind of an advanced trick that will help you reduce the clutter and get rid of redundant content, especially if you already have the call to action buttons at the top of the page for sign up and donate. You can then also hide the sign up and donate menu tab because you already have the call to action button at the top, and it just kind of makes things look a lot nicer. So let's get into cover pages. Cover pages are great because it's basically the cliff notes of your race. So we all know that participants, for some reason, have a hard time reading. They don't always read the confirmation email and all of the information that you want to share with when to show up, when the race starts, where packet pickup is, all that kind of stuff. So the cover page is a really nice snapshot of what you can, highlight the key takeaways. Like if you can only tell somebody 3 things and 3 quick sentences, like your elevator pitch for your race, that's perfect for the content for the cover page. You can then add a button to the section that learn more or more info that will literally give out like full details, driving directions from the east, driving directions from the south, that kind of stuff. But they have the general gist that packet pickup is the Thursday and Friday before the race, or such content such as that. So if you update the cover page, that's going to replace your default homepage and give you the ability to spotlight certain things. So again, this cover page is mobile optimized. It's very professional looking. You can drive action with the different buttons and how you can set up the different content areas. And we even have advanced transition options, so the header can scroll through a bunch of different content. So here's some example cover pages that look really nice to make the website pop. Obviously, you have the Empower Up 5K that shows, just a really nice professionally look and branding race with the event options for their challenge. It shows the swag and it gives you the key takeaways of how it works and what's included. And then we get into the Harpoon 5 miler. It's just a really nice branded website. There's nice, clear call to action buttons. You have a cover section that just says race day FAQs, and you can click there to learn more about all the information that somebody needs. It's very easy to find. And again, that can help reduce support emails, so that way you can focus on the next thing that you need to do to put on a successful event. So let's kind of dive into that cover page and figure out how to get that going for your race. The header banner is the first option. So again, we're under the race website tab in the cover page section, and you can set up to 5 rotating banners to help bring the site alive and offer more ways to promote your event. So you can click and drag them. There's a little grid to the left of each of the names that you've named the banner. And the name of the banner doesn't show up to the front end. That's just a name, so you know like what image you're showing or what you're trying to do. So that way you can switch things up and keep the content fresh. After you've created some header sections, which will always be at the top of the page, you can dive into creating content. So you just click a plus sign and you just add the next content item that you want to do. So we have a variety of content options. You can do a full width image, full width text. You can split it into 2 columns. You have a race countdown or just a countdown to a specific date that you wanted to do. Custom actions, which are those buttons that you can literally do whatever you want. You can direct them to default content, or you can direct them to a custom URL. We even have a video, so if you have like a nice intro video or telling people why they should join your race, you can definitely plug that in. And then we have multiple components that drive dynamic content. So here's an example of an event video. So definitely you add a short video, you just plug in your YouTube ID, and that'll show up as the thumbnail inside of the race. You click it and it views that video, whether it's a post-race interviews from a race that tell people excited and they can't wait to do it next year, or it's a promotional video. You got like a drone shot with a flyover and people registering, all kinds of stuff. Maybe a sponsor pitch showing that they're excited to see people, all kinds of cool things that you can do. When you create content, here's a 2-column example. This is a great thing to do to call to action for different options. Here we have a quote with a kind of branded image from one of the runners for the race, and then we're also kind of promoting the volunteer section where we want people to join to help clean up the trails on the race and promote the local charity for the event. So here's the custom call to action buttons. Again, you can add up to 3 custom action buttons. These are defaulted to brand to your colors, and you can add whatever text that you want on these images. So we have a couple of default options that you can do. You can link to the race info, you can relate to results, things like that. But we also have the custom URL, so you can literally link them wherever you want to do. And that really helps you create those simple cover page options, such as runner FAQs, and you click this button, and then you can redirect them to that custom section that you made earlier, to just kind of give them 2 different ways to get to that. We also have data components, and again, these are the dynamic information that automatically fills based off of what you put in there. We have social media, so that way if somebody wants to click and share your race on social media, they can easily do that. We have event tiles, which are going to be dynamic and automatically show price increases, any type of highlights that you've put on there. They're going to always update with that information. So if you have a price increase, you don't have to go back to the race website and then type in that price increase. We already know that happens. The event tiles get updated automatically, and there's even text that shows when that price increase is going to happen. We also have sponsor components. So if you add a sponsor, it'll automatically plug on the page. We have top fundraisers, which is a very popular one for the nonprofits that are raising money. And we even have, kind of virtual components. If you're still doing a hybrid race or you're offering some sort of training program and coupling with your race, hybrid races are still popular. So you can add those types of content in there as well. We also have an email capture form. So you've probably gone to a race website, and as you're about to scroll away or just after a certain time, there's a little pop-up. And this is great for catching people that think, they're not quite ready to register, but they're at least trying to show that they're interested in your race, so they want to sign up. This will automatically add that person's name and email to a custom email list. But don't forget to take action on that list. So you want to check on this periodically from time to time and just encourage people, why they should go ahead and convert and register. Whether you want to send them a coupon, right before the race to get them over the hump. There's all kinds of options that you can do with that email form. So just to show you the different sections of the page, we're looking at a cover page. At the very top left is the logo. So if you updated the logo, that's always going to appear in the top left of the race. You have your custom menu options with the sign up and donate buttons as the overarching call to action buttons at the top. Then we have our header photo from the event. Again, you can have up to 5 photos that scroll left to right in the picture. Then we also have our registration options. Those are the event tiles that appear right under the header banner. And you can drag and drop those content anywhere you want. So if we want to move that fundraising goal up above, we can do that, or we can have the countdown. Since we're getting close to race day, you can move any of this content. As different things change for your race, you can always refresh the cover page to make it topical for your event. So let's kind of cover some miscellaneous items. So one of the other options that you can do to help further brand your race, if you don't have a domain for your race, then you should get one. And we allow you to bring that domain name and point that to the website. So you don't have to pay for, you buy the domain on your own. You're not buying that through RunSignup, but you don't have to worry about building content or using some sort of other service such as Squarespace or WordPress or something like that. If you like the race website and you want the RunSignup page to work as your domain, you can bring that domain over to RunSignup by plugging that in, and it'll go through some validation options, and we have help guides that'll walk you through how to actually bring your domain over to RunSignup. Or if you already have a domain because you already have a nice website, but you want to then subdomain out the race. So you might have a nonprofit, and obviously you don't want to move that nonprofit website over to RunSignup, but you want to subdomain the 5K dot, your nonprofit.org to RunSignup. You can definitely do that. That way, when somebody looks at your race page, your nonprofit is in the domain, and that's a really nice feature to be able to add. Once you go through all this stuff, you want to check it out, right? So once you've added the logo and you've gone through and added custom sections and moved things around, on the dashboard in the top right, there's a quick view website button that'll flip you over to the front end. And you want to test the registration process. You want to click and look at all the links, make sure they're working properly. And you want to do this both on desktop, tablet, and on mobile, just to make sure that it's looking and working the way that you want. Some other website checks that you can do to make sure that you're ready to go is, just like we talked, register for your race. How long does it take to register for your race? Are you asking a bunch of information that's not needed? Because you want people to just basically forget about the registration process, right? You want them to complete it and be excited for your event, right? Look at all the dates and start times and sponsors. Is everything up to date and correct? Are the course maps correct? What event services are you offering? Are you indicating that so that way people know what they get when they do the race, or are you promoting it? Because they should come to your race because you're offering participant tracking, you're offering photos, you have a training program, things like that. And are you clearly promoting, marketing strategies on the website, such as early bird discounts, any type of referral tracking, referral plans, things like that. So the number one thing you want is people register for the race. So you want to make sure that they have multiple ways to do this, and it's easy to find clear action. So make sure everything is updated and reflect those in the changes of your website. And you want to promote your website. So, help drive your traffic and registrations for your event. Go to local calendars, local social media sites, local running clubs. Check with your timer or your partner to see if there's anything local in the area that you can get listed on. By default, we work with thousands of affiliate calendars. In this example, this is running in the USA. They directly pull from our race list and get you listed on those types of sites. But you also want to look at local community event sites to get the word out and have people register for your race. Also, make sure that your sponsors are promoting your race. So that's also a good thing to do, where they're also have a link to your event to sign up directly, or they've emailed their employees or whatever their network is. So we're just going to kind of recap some examples again, and just to kind of showcase what the website is doing once you kind of add a cover page. So this is the Lake Canesti 50K. It's a very simple and classic approach. Nice, clear, green action. I'm a kind of affinity for green, so that's why I like this one. But it's very simple and classic. The event tiles show the two clear choices that somebody has, and the color scheme of the logo and the branding of the all the buttons and stuff. It just makes it look really nice. It's very easy, and then social media just kind of rounds out the page. So very nice and simple, but effective. Here you have the Vancouver Trail Run. Again, this is the race that I've set up. We have some extra call to action buttons near the top of the page with the more info, become a sponsor, or a volunteer option, just to kind of better highlight those, get them off of that menu just to clear it up. So there's a nice clear menu at the top. And then you can have images that support the branding. So we have lots of trail running photos and even a video to show people what the trails look like. This is more goal focused. This race is trying to get people to register for multiple races. So they have a content section that clearly promotes that at the top, that you can register and save money by doing multiple races at the same time. So highlighting the discounts and the best deals to make sure you always want to do that via email, regular marketing, and also, again, the website, since the website's working for you 24/7. This other themed approach, this is, again, one of my favorite cover pages here, the May the Course race. They've added all kinds of nice Star Wars thing. They have a event branded, I guess, the start of their race, and somebody's running, and they added a lightsaber to her hand, which looks pretty cool and goes on the theme. So you definitely see how both the font in the imagery and the color scheme really makes it pop. And they have nice, clear custom action and custom sections that show, if you raise a certain amount of money, these are the prizes that you can win, things like that. So again, this is kind of like the anatomy of the cover pages. This has a lot of stuff here. You can get as simple as you want. You can have as many content sections as you want. You can click and drag and move things around. So, the first month when registration's opening, maybe you're promoting certain things, and then you can drag those down to the bottom and have the next section of cover page show up. But this just kind of shows you all the different options that you can add into a cover page. So basically, we want to take the time to build out your race website with key features that have been covered today. Don't forget to refresh your content each year with new images, new features that either RunSignup has offered, or just new things that your race wants to incorporate into the following year, and let people know about it. So let your race website be the PR department for your event. So more training is coming up. So there's also a handout in the handout section, so you can have that downloaded. We also have plenty of previous webinars that kind of go into a little bit more nitty-gritty detail on some of these, so don't forget to check those out as well. And the best way to kind of learn is just explore. So we covered the into the race dashboard under the race tab under race website. You're just going to look at the top 5 or 6 items there and just click in there, and you can just start adding content and building out your race website. Don't forget to join us for our next webinar on June 23rd at 2 p.m. And that's going to go more into how to increase registration with the pricing and referrals that we briefly touched on today. All right, so were there any questions?
Matt, we have some really good questions. So are you ready?
Absolutely.
Okay, so one of the first questions that you did address, but this one came in early, so I want to take it in order. Person asked if they can have a specific URL for their race web page.
Absolutely. So there's a couple different ways that you can set that up. One is with the domain. So you have your own domain for your race web page. Or if you want to kind of customize what that race website URL is, when you first set up the race, your default URL gets created. That's the, we're helping you with search engine optimization to get found higher on Google. So if you ever look at your race, like the full URL, it's got /race, /city, /state. Those are kind of like little tricks we're playing on Google to get you found higher. But if you want to kind of make a short URL, there's a section, if you just search race URL in the dashboard, you can add a short version of that. If you do need to update the full SEO version of that URL, then just email our support team and we can actually get that updated for you on the back end. But you can update the URL either by setting up a domain, or you can use the race URL option to create a short URL. Or if you need to update the actual one that was created because maybe you added the sponsor name or you added the 2019 in your URL a while ago and you've renewed it each year after year, we need to get that cleaned up. So just email our support team to get that taken care of.
Thank you, Matt. The next question is it possible to change the location of the menu in an existing RunSignup site?
Absolutely, yeah. So the menu of the race is going to show up on, if you have a cover page, the menu will always show in that horizontal view. But if you want to show the menu on the vertical side, that's in the race theme section. The very first option in there is you can choose to do vertical. And so once you navigate away from the cover page on any of those sections, you have the vertical template. So those are the 2 template options. You either have the menu on the left-hand side with using vertical, or it's always going to be at the top with horizontal. And that will also be the case when a participant goes to manage their registration. If you've selected vertical when they're going into this site to manage their registration, all of those different options, if you let them change their shirt size or answer questions, would be vertical or horizontal based off of that template.
Terrific. The next question is there a way to change the height of the custom page?
So the custom sections, I guess if I'm interpreting this question correctly, it's based off of the amount of text that's on there. So there's a limited template options in there depending on what you're trying to do. But if you want to give a specific example, feel free to email our support team with exactly what you're trying to do. But everything is within the template. So if you're adding like an image inside of the template, there are height and width options that you can kind of customize in there. I generally recommend changing the width to 100%. That way it always fills the space, and that way it's scalable. But if you were to literally set the height or width of an image, then it would be fixed at that image.
Okay, great. So here's a good one. Do you have, and you've addressed a lot of them, but this person wants to know, do you have any specific tips to make sure that the website looks good on a computer or a phone, or things to avoid?
Definitely, yeah. So you definitely need to test on both, right? So you're probably working from your laptop or desktop, and so you're looking at the website. You always want to look at it on your phone. You probably have some of your team members that are also helping you with it. Have them test out the registration to make sure it looks good. there, because you want to get different perspectives, because what looks good to you might be a little jarring to somebody else, and then the ways somebody interacts with your website might be a little different. So always get feedback from your team members, and kind of see how things go with that. But basically, you want any of the images, the focal point of the images is generally in the middle of options, and so that way it automatically scales. Any text on there is automatically going to scale. And if you run into any particular issues or whatever, feel free to reach out to our support team as far as any nuance that you're trying to do. But definitely get some perspective from people that are either volunteering for your race, have the sponsor look at it, so that way you just get that other perspective.
Okay, here's another one now. So this person writes in that they often have problems getting their images to fit within the cover page size constraints. They don't have issues with the banner. Sometimes they have issues with the half page images, and so they'd like some suggestions.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question. So the style of these cover pages is these are background images, right? So let me go back to the Vancouver trail run to show you the trail runner here, right? So this is something that's designed to be in the background, right? And so the text is automatically scalable, but this is a screenshot from a desktop, and if you look at it on mobile, it's going to squish a little bit. Obviously, the runner is in the middle of the page, so it'll still show up. But that's the way that the content section works. Now, if you're trying to highlight this to showcase your swag, I don't have an example on this particular example, but what you can do is, instead of actually using a background image for the section, it's not a background image. You're actually showing an image. So if you use the enhanced content, where you can actually embed, you get the WYSIWYG toolbar, there's an option to pop in an image inside of there. And what I find works well is just an image that's 900 by 900. And if you're really trying to highlight your swag, get some sort of swag image that has a transparent background or a white background. And then you have a custom section with the color is white on the background, and then your image is a fixed embedded content inside of it. So I'm going to try and see if I can find an example of that. I don't think it's on here, but I can try and pull that up. Let's see if I can. We can go into the next question while I'm trying to get my screen to show here.
Okay, this one, I think you've really inspired some people to be creative here. So this question says, can you customize the look and feel of the kiosk mode used on race day?
No, kiosk mode isn't designed for that. Now we do have an option, and this is called on-site registration. So technically kiosk mode has been deprecated, but there is a high contrast option to help, with the sun beating down on the registration. We always recommend people go touchless. We have all types of stuff here in the promotion section under links. So you can add signage with these QR codes for people to register. There's even a text message option that you can say, hey, text this to this number, and it'll give you the link to register from your phone. That helps with touchless. That helps people register quickly with keeping the lines down. So there's all kinds of stuff like that. But the on-site registration option, it just has the high contrast option. Let's dive in and go back into the cover page section. Let's see here, custom content. Whoops, cover page. I don't have the actual example now, but I'll go into the quote section here to kind of show you. Instead of putting a description here, you can use this rich text option, and then I can embed an image. And again, I recommend 900 by 900. So if you're really trying to make sure that this image scales and scrolls, you're actually doing this as an image within the text component, because that's what scales. So again, recommended image that's got a transparent background, so that way if you wanted to put it on a blue or to further brand the theme, you could do that. It always is easy to do a white background color and then have your swag overlaying on a white image. But that way you're not using a background image, you're just using a background color, and then you're using the description to actually insert an image, and that'll scale inside of there. So give that a shot. And that's kind of what we've seen work best with highlighting that swag on race websites in the cover page.
So this question's not specific to cover pages, but since you, I know you made mention of it, and so this question came up. Is there a way to test registrations before making the site live so that we can check for other issues?
Absolutely, yeah. As a race director, anybody that has access or race director access, regardless of the site is being published or even if registration's open, that sign up button at the top of the page on your main page will always appear for you. And that's so you can override those registration periods and go through the registration process before going live. Again, feel free to publish your website live. If registration doesn't open until August 1st, put your website out there. It generally takes about 14 days for the search engine optimization and everything to really percolate on Google. So you don't want to just turn the website live and start promoting, because it's going to take a while for that to fully mature. And if your race has been in existence, then you never want to take your race offline at all. Again, your race website works for you 24/7. People will look at their results from last year. People will look at photos at any particular time. Once you go live with your race website, never take it offline. You can just make sure registration is pushed in the future so people can't actually register for the race. But at the end of the day, if somebody registers early before you're ready, I mean, as long as you had the price correct and you're collecting the basics, like I say, no harm, no foul if somebody's really itching to get into your race. But yes, you can absolutely test registration before actually going live. You can even do a soft registration where registration's open, but you haven't really started promoting it yet. And you can reach out to your top referrals, your team captains, your fundraising captains. You can get them, ready to go at the early bird pricing, and then, then promote it to the masses later. So absolutely. Again, that view website button at the top right of your race dashboard, you can always flip over to that, and that sign up button will be there if you're logged in with access to RunSignup to test it. Good question.
Yeah, great question. So a lot of people are saying, thank you, this was great. And then another person just took it one step further and they said, are there recordings of previous webinars? And if so, where can we find them? What's the channel name? What's the best way to see them?
Yeah, absolutely. I like our YouTube channel. So it's just youtube.com/RunSignup. There's all kinds of dedicated playlists on there. You can actually search the channel for a key feature. We generally have, content, whether it's a 20-minute webinar or it's more of a long form. There's all kinds of stuff in there. So definitely check out our playlists. We have recordings from all of our presentations from past symposiums on there as well. And if you want some in-person training, we actually do have a symposium coming up in July in Philadelphia. So definitely go and you can look at our symposium for in-person training as well. Awesome. So great. Thanks for everybody attending today. And
everyone's saying lots of appreciation and thanks to you, Matt. Yeah, good webinar. Thank you. Looks like people are going to be logging on to see some previous ones. So great job.
Great. Thanks. And we'll see you guys at the next one. Thanks again.
Bye, everyone.